cross-country star Morgan Zeckley does it again and returns home as Atlantic 10 champ. Hello, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Brendan Rigney. Women's soccer lands the 6th seed in the A10 tournament and prepares for St. Joe's in the first round. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine. Team SportsLine here to give you the latest in LaSalle sporting news. We've got your game recaps and previews ready for you on this episode.
Plus, we have highlights from Jake Smolinski's discussion with women's soccer Deja Davis.
All this and more to come, but first, let's take a look at what went down this past week for our athletes. History repeated itself this year for women's cross country. For the second year in a row, sophomore Morgan Zeckley championed the 5-kilometer Atlantic 10 championship race. Zeckley positioned herself in the front of the pack immediately, ultimately giving herself a 10-second lead. She ran the 5K in 17 minutes and 9 seconds, the fastest of her collegiate career. 8 other explorers paced the 129-runner field, including freshman Caitlin Poez at 7th place. In her best collegiate performance, senior Rebecca Scardelletti delivered a time of 18 minutes and 7 seconds in 27th place, followed 2 seconds later by Megan Connell in 29th. While Zeckley took the individual first-place title, LaSalle overall took 3rd. After edging out Richmond last year for 2nd place, LaSalle fell behind the Spiders, tying with UMass for points, but slipped past them in overall time.
And the men's team itself performed well at the A10s, finishing in 4th place with 106 points, thanks to juniors Francis Ferruzzi and Bradley Hewer. Ferruzzi finished in 7th place with one of his best races of the season, moving from 15th before moving up between the 2nd and 5th miles. He ran the 5-mile course in 24 minutes and 51 seconds. Teammate Hewer sat in 2nd place after his first run with a time of 4 minutes and 42 seconds before sliding down to 8th place overall with a time of 24 minutes and 52 seconds. Congratulations to both our men's and women's team for the 2015 fall season.
The swimming and diving teams headed to Geneva, Ohio for an A10 tri-meet facing St. Bonaventure, Duquesne, and St. Louis on October 31st. LaSalle's women's team had some moments of brilliance in the pool. Emma Smith took first in all 3 individual events in which she competed, including her dominating 1,650-yard freestyle victory. Up-and-comer Olivia DeStefano shined bright once more with a commanding 100-yard backstroke win after placing 2nd in the 100-yard freestyle event. Other standouts for the women include Sydney Zoppo and Kelly Quinn, who won the 1-meter and 3-meter dives respectively. The Explorers also took 2nd in the 400-yard medley and 400-yard freestyle relays.
And that same day, men's swimming and diving faced St. Louis and Bonaventure, losing 171 to 161 and winning 187 to 147 respectively. Fabian Bergman would be the team's champ this Halloween, winning both the 100-yard and 200-yard backstroke events, and also assisting LaSalle's win in the 400-yard medley relay. Other winners for the event include Matthias Glenesk in the 1,650-yard freestyle, Jakob Bartoszewicz in the 100-yard butterfly, Johan Roth in the 100-yard backstroke, and Dylan Urasitz in the 1-meter dive. LaSalle also won in the 400-yard medley relay.
On Halloween, the men's and women's rowing teams raced in the head of the Occoquan, with the men's varsity 8 boat finishing 10th out of 24 boats. LaSalle's 2nd boat sped head-to-head with Pittsburgh's in the championship lightweight 8, winning with a 32.12-second difference. Freshman Elijah Ellis was in the Cox position for this race. But on the women's side, the first of 4 Explorer boats was the freshman Novice 4, which finished in 5th place out of 17 boats. Later, LaSalle's 2 boats in the championship 4 finished in the 13th and 24th spots.
And the LaSalle golf team finished up their fall season at the City 6 Championship and on October 31st at the Marion East Golf Club, one of the world's top courses. Freshman Andrew Reynolds led the way for the Explorers, shooting 4 over par to tie for 3rd in the 30-player field. Fellow freshmen Nick Gruber and Nick Guyman each shot 7 over par to tie for 14th place, respectively. And the Explorers as a team finished last out on the 5-team field, but each team was only separated by 8 strokes. St. Joe's won the event with an 18 over par finish. LaSalle will look to improve upon their winter break before their spring season starts on February 22nd at the Atlantic 10 Match Play Championship.
LaSalle's volleyball squad is starting to wrap up its fall season. Cali Montana has the coverage from their game versus rival Duquesne.
On Friday, the LaSalle Explorers took on Duquesne at the Tom Gola Arena and ended up falling 3-0. During the first set, it was a tough start for the Explorers as Duquesne jumped out with an 11-4 lead. Brianna Davis ended up adding 4 of her 6 kills of the night during that frame. During the second set, Blue and Gold were getting their momentum back and started putting up a good fight against the Dukes. It was a tie score of 21-21 late into the set, but unfortunately, they couldn't come up with the win and ended up falling in the second frame. Even though they lost that set, Athlete of the Week, Taylor Height, came up with 3 kills in the second frame and had 9 assists in the set. Height ended the night with 22 assists. Going into the third frame, the Explorers were ready to fight back. Madison Cook and Ashley Felton had multiple kills in the set, but Duquesne ended up winning in the third 25-12. This makes them 0-2 in matchups against Duquesne this year. For SportsLine, I'm Cali Montana.
With the A10 tournament play on the line, LaSalle Field Hockey faced St. Francis on October 30th. The game had all of the ingredients for a shootout, with scoring opening in the 28th minute by LaSalle Devin Morocco. St. Francis countered to tie it up, but Jenica Miller cut in with a reverse chipped shot to bring the score 2-1. As time wound down, it looked like the Explorers were going to get the win and keep their postseason dreams alive. However, St. Francis scored to push it into overtime, where the Red Flash managed to slip one past Rachel Hartman for the 3-2 win over the Explorers.
For their senior day, the Explorers took on Columbia in a long-awaited matchup. Both teams' defenses duked it out thanks to a near-perfect game from goalie Rachel Hartman. The junior locked down the net until Columbia managed to score off a penalty stroke in the 58th minute. The Explorers came back 2 minutes later with Abby Lawrence scoring off a pass from Juliana Carfagno. This took the game into overtime, which looked quite a bit like watching the end of a classic sports movie. After cutting down the field, senior Emily Vassie took a pass from Miller and delivered a top-shelf shot that gave the Explorers the win. The entire team dogpiled like this was the end of Rudy, and the seniors got to finish out their season with a beautiful win.
And men's soccer capped off the regular season with senior day versus the woeful St. Joe's Hawks. Sophia Sotomayor has the coverage.
Men's soccer looked to the end of their season on a positive note as they took on rivals St. Joe's this past Saturday at McCarthy Stadium. The day started out on a high note as men's soccer seniors were recognized at their final game at LaSalle. Morale was high as senior Andrew Connors scored the first and only goal for the Explorers in the 7th minute of play. St. Joe's tried to retaliate by taking 3 shots on goal in the first half. The Hawks at LaSalle were stuck in a battle of control in the second half. As time began to run out, tensions began to build among both teams and the crowd. 5 fouls were called within the last 7 minutes of play. In the last 2 minutes, Tim Lazarco of St. Joe's made a wide left shot on goal that had the home crowd biting their nails in anxiety. But in the end, the blue and gold were able to hold off the Hawks to secure the win 1-0. In a notable performance, goalkeeper Mike Kirk had his 4th shutout of the season. LaSalle overpowered the Hawks, making 10 shots on goal versus their 8 with St. Joe's goalie Bob Edwards, making 3 saves in total. Unfortunately, this victory was not enough to get them to the A10 tournament, but the win snapped a 3-game losing streak for the Explorers, who ended their season at 6-10-2. For SportsLine, I'm Sophia Sotomayor.
Thanks, Sophia. LaSalle women's soccer split their final 2 regular season conference games before Atlantic 10 championships, starting on the road against George Mason on the 29th. LaSalle netted 3 goals in the first half on the way to a 3-0 victory. Mary Kate Bateman found the back of the net in the 20th minute to record her 5th goal for the season. Jess Kagan put the Explorers up 2-0 off a penalty kick just a few minutes later. The 3rd and final goal appeared in the 41st minute off Madison Bauer's foot.
LaSalle next had its senior day at McCarthy Stadium to close out their season, falling to Duquesne 2-1. The Duke's Katie O'Connor scored once in each half to seal the victory, while Jessica Kagan scored the lone Explorer goal in the 83rd minute. The senior midfielder notched her 2nd goal of the season on a penalty kick that slid past the goalkeeper to the far post. With the loss, LaSalle finishes the fall regular season with an 8-8 record and 5-4-1 record in the A10. That does it for our game recaps, but no weekly awards this week. Joining us here actually now to talk about some other things, Callie Montana for some exploring headlines. Callie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? All right, let's get to it. LaSalle Cross Country wrapped up its season at A10 in great fashion. Thanks in large part to the individual success of a few explorers, Caitlin Poes earned all conference honors for her 7th place finish behind fellow explorer Morgan Zeckley. The freshman finished the 5K with a time of 17 minutes and 31.1 seconds. On the men's team, leading LaSallians Francis Ferrezzi and Bradley Hewer earned all conference honors as well. The pair of juniors finished in 7th and 8th as Ferrezzi clocked in with a time of 24 minutes and 51.9 seconds. Hewer was less than a second behind. As women's soccer prepares for the postseason, 2 explorers have been recognized for their hard work this fall. Senior midfielder Jessica Kagan made the second team all-conference for her 2 goals, 2 assists, and for helping the blue and gold defense tally 5 shutouts. Freshman Macy Bauer grabbed the all-rookie selection with her own 2 goals and assists in 17 games. Explorers Field Hockey also capped its season in a big way. 4 players were given A10 awards. Sophomore Kendall Creeder earned all-conference second team thanks to her 5 goals and 13 points. Freshman Megan Kita was placed on the A10 all-rookie team after she notched 3 goals and 2 defensive saves. Rounding out the 4, Janeka Miller and Katie O'Grady made the academic AL Atlantic team. Miller led the team in assists and points while achieving a GPA of 3.77. Sophomore O'Grady started 18 games on the defense and has maintained a perfect 4.0.
Let's circle back. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Some great exploring headlines for you, but it's time for our first break, so please don't go anywhere.
And when we come back, we'll have highlights of Jake Smolinski's chat with Deja Davis.
Stick around.
For my next classes.
"31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
Welcome back. Fellow SportsLine reporter and resident greaseball Jake Smolinski has the opportunity to sit down and speak with women's soccer's Deja Davis. Take a gander.
Hello and welcome to another edition of On the Sidelines. I'm your host, Jake Smolinski, and I'm sitting down here with women's midfielder forward, Deja Davis. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I want to talk to you a little bit about, as the season's starting to kind of wrap up, we're getting down into like the nitty gritty now. We are leading up right now into the A10 championships, right?
Yes.
And you guys are 6th right now, or sixth round, is that how it works? Or
6th seed.
6th seed, and then you guys are taking on St. Joe's.
Yes.
And so, as I guess like the season sort of wrapped up, how do you feel right now going into the A10 tournament?
We just came off a loss, but we're not down at all. We know that we have what it takes to win this whole tournament, and all it takes is our belief, and we still have that. So
Yeah, and because I think in freshman year you guys won the A10, right?
Yes.
And then it was the switch around with Dayton last year, which was incredibly tough A10 tournament. But now, because I know you guys don't have the record that you guys did back in freshman year. What do you think has kind of been the deal with that, though? You know.
Well, we did lose our best attacker last year, but it's caused other people to have to step up this year. So we don't have just one main attacker. We have kind of a whole force of attackers this year, and we knew it was going to be a struggle losing a great senior class last year. But we tried our best, and I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, because I've definitely noticed like people like Jessica Kagan, especially you, like stepping up really like coming in clutch up top, just providing so much pressure. And it's not necessarily that you're not always getting the goals, but you're opening up and giving all these opportunities. I was like looking at like the stats around, and I'm pretty sure you might have like the leading amount of shots for the team. So how has it been though, like not having Kelsey Haycock on the team anymore and kind of pushing yourself to really get out there?
Well, we have to find other ways to do it, and we pride ourselves on our pressure. And that's how we got a lot of our goals this season. So, we just have to find other ways to do it. If it's taking shots and, letting the goalie get like set and, testing the goalie early, that's what I think. Taking shots early is always going to, make the goalie a little shaky and just, find ways to do it.
And so I got to ask then, for you, because this has definitely been like a really interesting season to watch, because there's been some incredibly like just beautiful games, like wins against like Richmond, like stuff like that. But what do you think has been the most defining game for you guys so far this season?
I would say St. Joe's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because city rivalry, and they don't like us, we don't like them. And it was just an intense game, and I think everyone just played their hearts out, and everyone in their role did the best that they could.
And what was the final score of that matchup?
It was 3-1.
3-1. I remember getting like the news, like just following it on Twitter the entire time. What was the breakdown of the game though? Like, do you remember who put the cap and goal on there?
I remember MK got the first goal.
Yep.
I think it was just a product of her hard work and pressure. And Maddie had the second one. It was also hard work and pressure on the goalie, just relentless pressure. And Clarissa had the third goal, and she just poked it in, like, yeah. No,
because I remember just seeing that, I was just like, that's also a huge boost of confidence as you guys go into this the A10 championships. Yeah. But also, I feel like it's also a little apprehensive, considering they're going to want revenge for that, you know?
Every team comes out against us like it's the end of the world if they don't beat us. So we know that's what St. Joe is going to do.
I definitely feel, especially because you've gotten to come up in LaSalle's soccer team during like the reign of Kelsey Haycock, basically. And seriously, in the A10, like we are still one of like the juggernaut sort of teams and everything. And what do you think? How has that been like for you? Like, where there literally has not been any chill. It's almost like you guys are constantly put on the spot.
There's a lot of pressure, but we're not afraid of pressure. And I mean, I for one am not afraid of pressure. And I don't know. It's Kelsey. It's hard, big shoes to fill, like following Kelsey Haycock. But I don't know. It's just.
No, it's. I can definitely feel that. But I feel like you guys have been doing an incredible job, stepping up and really trying to completely like change up the way you guys play your game.
Definitely.
And so, what's going to need to go right though as you guys go into the A10 tournament?
We have to be switched on the entire 90 minutes of every game, and we have to know that we can win, because that's the first step, and we just have to want it the whole 90 minutes of every game. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I wish you guys like the best of luck as you guys kind of go into this. I'm really excited to be watching on the edge of my seat. Hopefully, going to try to get out to a couple of these games. But I guess my last question, though. I ask this to everybody who comes on the show. What do you prefer? It's a late night. Cheesesteak roll or pizza roll from Happy Fortune?
Pizza roll.
Pizza roll? Oh man, I think that has been a pretty solid consensus. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down. We are here with Deja Davis. That is it for On the Sidelines. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Jake. But time for another break.
When we come back, we'll have your previews for the next batch of LaSalle sports action.
We'll be right back.
I already said like when we get back.
Yeah, but you can still say.
Today, a new creature walks among us, terrorizing innocent citizens. Until this threat can be contained, we must all be on the lookout for the dreaded digital deadwalkers.
Dude!
They're not looking out for you.
Engage!
A public service safety message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, who want to keep everyone well connected with strong, healthy bones.
9 out of 10 of us say we want to die at home. But for a third of us, this is the last place we'll see. If you had just months to live, where would you want to be? Willie wanted to enjoy her great-great-great-grandchildren. She chose hospice. See what's possible at momentsoflife.org.
Welcome back. There's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let us highlight those games ahead for you. The swimming and diving teams will remain home at Kirk Pool on Saturday the 7th, as both the men and women will compete against Delaware and Ryder. Both of LaSalle's teams are coming off solid performances in Geneva, Ohio.
And LaSalle's volleyball squad has a pair of games to conclude its home schedule, beginning with a match on the 6th with 9 and 15 Davidson Wildcats. 2 days later, the Explorers will host VCU, an 11 and 14 team. LaSalle itself sits at 6 and 21 on the season.
In preparation for the upcoming season, men's basketball will host Philadelphia University for an exhibition on November 7th at the Tom Gola Arena. The Explorers are now playing without 3 starters from last season: Jarrell Wright, Steve Zach, and DJ Peterson.
Well, those are our previews. Moving on to this week's marquee matchup, John Vidal highlights the first of 2 A-10 women's volleyball games that women's volleyball is facing this weekend. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Vidal, and this is Marquee Matchup. In this week's game, I'll be talking about the volleyball face-off against Davidson while the season wraps up in just 2 weeks' time on November 14th. The women still have a few opportunities to make some exciting plays. LaSalle is currently 6 and 21 overall and 0 and 10 in the A Conference. And on October 25th, LaSalle lost to Davidson 0 and 3 in North Carolina. But the Explorers are 3 and 5 at the Gola. And this matchup is home, so LaSalle has a bit of an edge going into playing this time. Davidson is 9 and 15 overall and just 3 and 7 for conference play. The Wildcats are currently 7th in the conference, 4 schools in front of LaSalle, last place standing. When LaSalle met up with Davidson last time, the blue and gold put up 2 competitive sets and one where they failed to really get the ball rolling and ended up 15 points behind. But the Explorers have this weekend's game to rehash against the Wildcats. 3 key players are going to be essential if there's any hope for a switch-up. Junior Ashley Felton leads the team point in scores and has 199 kills on the season. With a game high of 14, Felton leads in block with a 40 block margin at 77. The junior emerged as a force on the court last year with a total of 201 kills and 66 blocks for the season. Last time Felton faced Davidson, she countered the offense with 6 blocks and made 10 kills on the game. Sophomore Brianna Davis is second behind Felton in points. Scored this season, Davis leads the team in kills with 220 with a game high of a whopping 18 against UMBC early in the season. She has 127 digs for the season. Another player that needs to be highlighted is breaking better, Taylor Height. The freshman, 799 assists for her first season here at LaSalle and has brought in 140 points total. Height has also made 90 kills and peaked with a game height of 7, and in her previous contest against Davidson, Height made 31 assists. She was named a 10th Rookie of the Week on October 20th and was the October Explorer Athlete of the Week. After their previous loss to the Wildcats, the team is going to need these 3 athletes if they really look to pull some whiskers. Be sure to head out to the Tom Golden Arena to cheer on the women's volleyball Friday, November 6th at 7 p.m. For SportsLine, I'm Jonathan Vidal. Let's go Explorers.
Well, Anna, we've just highlighted some of the next few games for LaSalle Sports, but now, although he isn't here in person, Jake Smo is here in spirit and has imparted upon to me, I don't know if that makes grammatically any sense, his picks of the week. So here we go. First up, Jake has a 3-0 loss to VCU in volleyball. Anna, do you think you're surprised by that at all?
A little bit, because last time we faced VCU just a few weeks ago, we lost 2-3. So that wasn't exactly a contest that was so far out of the way where we just got killed by them. VCU is a tough team. They're ranked 6th in the conference. We're ranked last. But I'm a little more skeptical of that pick, Jake. I think we might be able to not lose 0-3. Maybe something a little more along the lines of 2-3, keeping that consistent, because they've been pretty consistent.
VCU is actually 2-6 over the last 8 games. So if we were to have one team that we could probably pull out a win for the end of the season, it would probably be VCU. But I've been going to these volleyball games. They are very gassed right now. I don't think they just have the energy or the will right now to win any of the rest of their games. I don't know about the 3-0 loss. I would say maybe they put up a fight, win a set or two.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty realistic, but I do agree that I don't see us winning against VCU in women's volleyball. Pick number 2. Here we go. Men's swimming and diving. They're going to beat both Rider and Delaware in their next meet at Kirk Pool. Anna, Delaware is 3-1 on the season. Rider is just about the same at 3-1-1. But LaSalle is also, I believe, 2-0. Or they are actually 2-1, excuse me. Over the past couple weeks, they've done very well. Fabian Bergman, as we just reported, is killing it for the men, on top of our favorite Polish eagle, as he's called, Jakub Bartoszewicz. So do you think that this is another realistic pick of Jake's?
I actually think it does.
Oh, okay.
I do. I'm feeling Jake this time. I don't think UDEL has been really strong in the 400-yard freestyle. We've won that before, so I think that might be good.
I agree with that as well. Wow, we're actually on the same page for once. That's pretty odd.
Yeah.
Pick number 3. This should come as no shocker. Jake has men's basketball winning over Philly U in their exhibition handily. Philly U went 25-7, I believe, last season, but they are not a D1 team, and we have from sources that the men's basketball team has been hitting the courts pretty hard lately, so I think that they're prepped for this. I agree with that. I'm assuming you're agreeing that there's going to be a win over Philly U.
We got it. It's the game before homecoming. We got it.
Yeah, so there you go. Those are Jake's picks of the week, brought to you by Not Jake.
Well, that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the marquee matchup, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com and by following us on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We post game updates and sneak peeks into the upcoming show. Also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions about the show on either website. And for Callie, John, our SportsLine team, I'm Anna Gomez. And I'm Brennan Rigney, and for Jake, thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.